You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started. This is your WLCX Daily News Roundup for the Eagle 1490 AM in La Crosse.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. 94 Red Cross staff and volunteers from Wisconsin are helping with Hurricane Milton cleanup. The Red Cross says if you can't volunteer, the next best way to help is to donate money. You can learn more about ways to help on the Red Cross website. You need a Department of Natural Resources permit to burn brush or debris in 13 Wisconsin counties. That's because ongoing dry weather is spiking the risk of wildfires. That'll remain the case for the foreseeable future. You don't need a permit for campfires or grills. There's more on the DNR website. Democrats are hitting battleground Wisconsin in the run-up to Election Day. Lisa Hale was with Vice Presidential candidate Tim Walz in Green Bay yesterday.
Walz appealing to union labor and people who care about reproductive rights.
I'm going to make a message to the guys here. If you had any women you love in your life, your wives, your daughters, your mothers, and friends, let's not forget, their lives are literally at stake in this election. Let's be very clear.
Kamala Harris is scheduled to return to Wisconsin Thursday. I'm Lisa Hale.
First Lady Jill Biden stumped for Kamala Harris in Madison.
Another Trump administration would lead to more chaos, more greed, more division.
The election is in 3 weeks. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul says he expects challenges to Wisconsin's election results. He tells WYSN-TV's Upfront that Wisconsin has safe and secure elections and that his Justice Department is prepared to defend the results if it has to. Spending is trending up in the race for U.S. Senate. Democrats have outspent Republicans so far, $93 million to $69 million, but Republicans are outspending Democrats between now and Election Day, $21 million to $15 million. Tammy Baldwin leads Eric Hovde by 7 points in the latest Marquette poll. Rural voters could decide this year's presidential election. Sarah Janes of the Rural Democracy Initiative says that rural voters tend to be swing voters interested in the needs of working people.
They're very focused on working people as kind of the heroes of the economy and concerns that impact working class people.
The initiative's most recent poll finds Donald Trump leading among likely rural voters in 10 battleground states, but that support has dropped between March and September. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Here's what you need to know closer to home.
From the Civic Media Newsroom in Western Wisconsin, I'm Jimmy Kuska. Minnesota Governor and Democratic Vice Presidential candidate Tim Walz visited students at UW-Eau Claire yesterday. Walz encouraged people attending to get out and vote. Senator Tammy Baldwin joined Walz at the stop. First Lady Jill Biden spoke in Madison last night, and later this week, Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris will be in Wisconsin on Thursday with stops in La Crosse, Milwaukee, and Green Bay. No details have yet been announced for any of those stops. The November election is 3 weeks from today. After a Minnesota poultry processing plant went under, western Wisconsin farmers have been left on the hook for feeding over 170,000 chickens. Those farms have been giving the birds away. Farms in Trempealeau, Oliva, Galesville, and Mondovi still have about 20,000 to 30,000 birds to get rid of. One of the farms estimates they will lose over $100,000 due to the cost of feed. Unlike Minnesota and Iowa, where emergency relief is being provided, Wisconsin has no law that allows for aid in a situation like this. Trempealeau County was host to a campaign stop by Democratic U.S. Senators Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin and Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota on Monday. The senators visited a farm near Osseo to talk about the upcoming fall election. Baldwin, as she has done at other stops in her statewide tour, discussed the agriculture and healthcare parts of her platform, as well as her policy support for economic issues. Baldwin will debate her opponent, Republican Eric Hovde, this Friday. We'll have coverage right here on WLCX. One of the biggest school referendums on the ballot this fall in Wisconsin is in the Tomah Area School District. The district is proposing a $177 million plan to consolidate students into 4 buildings, including a new high school. Any other properties the school owns would be sold. Information sessions will be held tonight as well as next Tuesday and Wednesday at Tomah High School from 6 until 8 p.m. You can also find out more information about the referendum plan on the school district's website. For Civic Media News in Western Wisconsin, I'm Jimmy Kuska.
The Bucks get the win. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. NBA, the Bucks held on to beat the Bulls 111-107 last night in Milwaukee. Giannis with 24 points in 23 minutes. It was the Bucks' first win this preseason. Head coach Doc Rivers talked about the Bucks' new guard, Gary Trent Jr., and his ability at blocking passes.
Gary has great hands, unbelievable hands. You know, it's funny. He got whatever he got, but he had 5 more today that he just couldn't get to the ball. But he's a disruptor with his hands. He does a great job of doing it and staying in the defense.
NFL, the Packers say despite missing a field goal Sunday, they'll stick with place kicker Braden Narveson for now. College football, the Badgers' top wide receiver Will Pauling did not suffer a concussion in their win over Rutgers. Will he be ready to play Saturday against Northwestern?
You know, obviously it would be a little bit questionable from the start of the week, but I think that there was some good news in that there wasn't a concussion. It wasn't anything that maybe is major of some sorts. So we just got to see where he is and how he feels. And like I said, it's early on right now.
That's Badgers head coach Luke Fickell. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Here's your weekend box office roundup. Terrifier 3 did not disappoint moviegoers as it led the way in cinemas across the country. The horror film, which received a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, took in over $18 million at the box office this past weekend. The Wild Robot finished in second place with $13.5 million at the gate. Joker Folie à Deux, the follow-up to The Joker, had a huge drop-off of over 80% from its opening weekend haul. The film pulled in just over $7 million in only its second week. Critics and audiences both panned the film, so it's not too big of a surprise. Folie à Deux just barely edged out Beetlejuice, which came in fourth place, also with just over $7 million, but the Beetle-related sequel is in its sixth week of release and has made $275 million total. Rounding out the top 5 was the Pharrell Williams-inspired Lego stop-motion film Piece by Piece, which took in $3.8 million at the box office. New releases are just around the corner. Succession star Jeremy Strong does not miss being on the popular show. That might surprise some people, as it was an immensely popular show and won a slew of awards. Oftentimes it is mentioned as one of the best TV shows ever. Strong says he owes a lot to Succession, but the show messed him up. Strong says carrying the troubles of his character Kendall Roy for 7 years was almost too much. How much is too much? When asked if he would consider a spin-off where his character would be the star, he said it is not something he wishes to do. When an actor is willing to turn down millions of dollars, I tend to believe them. The film The Apprentice, about the life of Donald Trump and starring Sebastian Stan, has been given mostly good reviews, but it is getting torched by one critic in particular, who called it a politically disgusting hatchet job made by human scum. Any idea who that critic might be? Former President Donald Trump slammed the film, but it's doubtful many people saw his post because it was on Truth Social. Andrew Garfield says after Heath Ledger shot Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, he felt a great sense of accomplishment. The Spider-Man actor says that when Ledger arrived on the set of his next film with Garfield, called The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, catchy title, that he was downright smug. Garfield shared stories of his friend on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast. Ledger passed away 6 months before The Dark Knight hit the big screen from an accidental drug overdose in 2008 at the age of 28. Garfield added that Ledger wasn't cocky about it, but just knew he had done really great work in a really good film. It's always hard to watch a moving picture after reading the book, but Jane Austen fans still might not mind that Pride and Prejudice is coming to Netflix. The series is in the early stages of development. Variety reports that there is no cast yet attached, but this isn't the first time that Netflix has worked with Austen's material. In 2022, Dakota Johnson starred in the movie Persuasion. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
It's a little frosty out there this morning. We are going to have a hard freeze later tonight into tomorrow morning. Today, mostly sunny. We'll get to the low to mid-50s here this afternoon. Tonight, clear with a low dropping into the mid to upper 20s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high right around 60. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Current temp now 37.
That's your WLCX Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at lacrosseeagle.com. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.